Okay, we're going to do an audio training of the Google Workspace, and we're going to start with the contacts. Now, you might think an audio training for a software, that's a little odd. Well, I'm doing this for two reasons. One, because there are plenty of visual-based tutorials, very straightforward tutorials on the Google Workspace suite on YouTube available. The other reason being that when you have an account as just as a regular user like myself, they don't really give you a demo account, and so all of the information that I would have to show, it's all of my client information. That's private information. We have to keep our client information secret. It's part of our terms, and so I can't share it with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be as thorough via audio, and this way you can listen to it while you're on the job site, or you are in the car running to bids, and this will just give you kind of an overview and a jumping point, and give you kind of some ideas that you can use to better use the Google Workspace. We're not going to give you a full in-depth tutorial, but this should give you a very clear picture of how I use it and how I think that it can be used to replace a lot of softwares. Now, the thing about the Google Workspace is that it is a simple set of tools. The more complex tools, of course, come in Google Sheets, for example. That's a pretty powerful spreadsheet software, and you can do a ton of things with it when you really learn spreadsheets. But in terms of regular day-to-day use, I've gotten really used to doing so much of my day-to-day work right in Gmail, right in Google Contacts, right in the Google Workspace. And so today I'm going to talk to you about how to use Google Contacts as a very simplified CRM. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with what a CRM is a customer relationship management software. There are a lot of different products out there that are great CRMs. They come in varying prices and have different feature sets and capabilities and automation features and all kinds of things. And part of the reason why I use Google Contacts instead of a third-party CRM, well, first is that it's included in our Google Workspace. And so, by principle, I am typically trying to reduce the amount of overhead expenses I have. I'm trying to reduce the amount of subscriptions that I have. And if I can get away with not adding on another subscription, I'm going to do it. Even if that means that, some of the things that I do are a little bit more manual. Maybe I'm not getting all the, special bells and whistles, but if it does the trick, then it does the trick. And when it comes to a customer relationship management tool, a CRM, what is the most important thing is that you have a reliable database of your customers. You need that in order to contact them. And as much as I love automation, and as much as I have done a significant amount of automation in the past, for me, CRM means relationship, right? And if I'm not actually creating real human touch points with my audience, with my contact list, then, what am I doing? Like, I'm not really having any kind of, substantial relationship with them, or any kind of meaningful relationship. Now, the value of the contact list it's crazy. I mean, it is really, really important. Too many painters don't keep track of their contacts. They, write it down on a piece of paper. They don't update their CRM. They don't update their client list frequently. They have information, a phone number, it's saved on their phone. The email is, somewhere in their email. The address is written down on paper. It's all over the place. And so having a database where you keep all of that information centralized is it's mission critical to setting up the foundation of your business marketing system and being able to stay organized. And what I like about keeping it in Google Contacts, since we are using email frequently, since Google Contacts loops right into your phone contacts, whether you're Android or iPhone, If you're Android, it has, of course, its own, it's the same, it's one and the same. If it's your, if you're an iPhone user, whenever you connect your Gmail to your account, you just click sync contacts, and all of your Google contacts will be synced in your in the app, the regular iPhone contacts app. So it's all centralized, it's all there. It's handy when you need to call somebody or you need to email somebody. It's all synced together. There's no multiple data entry. Once you enter that contact in your contacts, that's where it is, right? And so that's a big reason why I use it. So then the question to me is like, okay, great, but what can you do with this contact list, and why is it actually so important? Well, of course, a contact list is there to be able to contact the people on that list, and the best person to get their house painted is somebody who's already worked with you. The chances of them going with getting another bid down the road and getting 3 bids and shopping it out again, they're not going to shop it out because they were happy with you and they want to use you, and they don't want to go through that fuss, so they're just going to have you come out and do the job. And so the value, the lifetime value of these customers, it extends far beyond just painting their house once. If you think about it, a recent I got a little bit of data from a software company that I was basically able to figure out that across all of their users, all of the companies that they have, and this is potentially a data set of 1,000 or more, that the average job size was about $4,100 at a closing rate of 57%. That was across all of their users. And I find that number pretty believable. About a 57% closing ratio for an owner is, I feel like that's probably typical. I think that if you didn't have as strong of a sales technique, maybe that drops down a little bit. And of course, if your price is a lot higher, then that drops down a little bit. I found that my closing ratio and my average sale were right around, I would say, probably a reasonable standard deviation. So not right on target, but pretty close. And so what that means is if you have, if your average job size is, between $4,000 and $5,000, well, that's obviously not the whole house. Painting the whole house is going to be, at least 3x that, maybe 4 or 5x that, which means that most customers across the board aren't painting their whole house the first time that you paint for them, which means that down the road, you have an opportunity to paint more and more of their house. And not only that, but people move and they upgrade their house. And so, if you've been in this game for any reasonable amount of time, you would know that when a homeowner, you paint for somebody, and a few years later, they have you come and paint a few more things, and a couple years later, they're like, hey, we're selling our house, can you come and paint it? And then you come paint it again, and then they move into another house, and then you're on the same cycle. And so, I don't expect that every customer that you have is going to, when they move, that they're going to move across town. I wouldn't expect them to to always call you back, but we're going to try, because the reality is that most of our business is going to come from repeat and referral customers. Okay, most of our business is coming from that. I've surveyed many different painters across the country, and it seems like everybody is so focused on, how do I use Google ads, how do I use Facebook ads, should I use Angie, should I use Thumbtack, and should I do this, should I do that, and then I asked them, well, where's the bulk of your current work coming from? And they say, well, it's repeat and referral. I said, well, what are you doing to get more repeat and referral? And they have zero answers. They're not doing anything to get repeat and referral. They're just taking it as a, as a given or a nice to have. They hope that it comes. Well, we can facilitate this. We can instigate that, and that is by maintaining relationships with customers who have already purchased from us. And so that's why the contacts is so important, because the lifetime value of the customer goes far beyond the amount of money that they spend the first time around. So when you open up your contacts, whether you are on your desktop or on your mobile phone, you're going to see a few things, right? You're going to, of course, see a list of all of the contacts. You're going to see the names. You're going to see their numbers. You're going to see, you're going to see email and address and all kinds of things. When I click into a particular contact, and you'll see, let's say you're on the whether you're on the desktop version or the mobile, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on a contact. And for most of this training, I'll be talking about the contacts in the desktop version, because there are a couple of features there that you can use that will help you organize and make heads or tails of this contact. So let's say that you click into a contact, and there, of course, you have their name. What's nice is that if they have given you if they're a Gmail user, and they have set up their own Gmail accounts, and they've uploaded a picture, a lot of times you'll actually be able to see a picture of them. And that's one of the things that I like about Google Contacts better than any CRM, because other CRMs don't do that automatically, whereas Gmail will. And so you'll be able to see their picture. You'll, right from the contacts portal, you'll be able to email, you'll be able to schedule appointments. You can chat with them. If they're users of Google Chat, or they're Android users, then there's a good chance that they'll see that chat. You can always try, and honestly, it's a little less obtrusive than a text message. And so if you're doing little quick marketing things, I think it's a good idea. Maybe make it a plan to contact, between, I don't know, let's say 3 or 4 contacts a day. Just send out a little chat saying, hey, I was thinking about you in your home. How's it, how are you guys doing? You could even, throw in a little joke. Hey, it's been a while since we painted. Is the paint still holding up those walls? And just do a little check-in. You can, of course, set up a video call with them. That's, you're probably not going to do that too much straight from here, but it is a feature. The next thing on the page you'll see right below it is the labels. And the labels, let's kind of put a pin on that conversation, and we'll talk about labels a little bit more and how to use those. But it's right under the list of action items that you can take. Then you have your contact details, and we want to make sure with our contact details that we have as much of that information current and up to date as possible. Like, really fill it out. Really try to fill out everything. Get their email, get their address, get their phone number, get their birthday. Try to get it out. Try to get all that information. Now, if you click on the edit button, then you can see a full drop down of all of the options. So if they're at a particular company, you can write in their company. Maybe you do a lot of commercial work, and so you want to know what companies they're working at and what their job titles are. Maybe, for example, you're building a list of realtors, and so you want to know which agency they're with. You can add multiple emails and phone numbers, their address. Beautiful thing about the address, especially for companies, when you type in the address or the email, a lot of that information, if they've set up a Google business profile, a lot of that information actually just gets pulled right in. So you have the ability to write notes, like I mentioned, the birthday. Now, if you go down and if you scroll down to the bottom and click show more, then you have a couple other fields. You can enter in a significant date. And if I click on significant date, it could be something like an anniversary, or it could be, the date that they purchased their house, or, any kind of like milestone that would be worth thinking about and reaching out to them and saying, hey, happy anniversary. Hey, you've been in your house for a year, congratulations. Any kind of significant date. You could put the date of service. For example, when was the last day that you serviced them? And that would be, a very, reasonable thing to put down, right? And so really, like I said, really try to fill this stuff out. You can add a website, you can add related persons, spouse. I always add a spouse if I know the spouse's name. And then of course you can add a custom field. What I like to do in the custom field is I like to write in what they, how they heard about us. So I'll write in source, or rather I'll write in, how they, like I'll write in, let's say they heard about me from, networking. I'll write in networking, and then as the label, I'll label that as the source, right? And then I have that information available. You click save, and beautiful. What's also cool about this in the desktop version is that it shows a list of recent interactions, and so you can see all of the emails that have been sent. And so if they are, for example, if they are on your newsletter, then you can see all of the emails that they've gotten. If you're currently working with them, you can see that, okay, these are some of the recent transactions that I've had. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the labels. So the labels are a pretty simple device. The idea is that for any contact, you can add any number of labels, and that kind of helps you sort your contacts. You could do it in a few different ways. You could categorize them by like what, who they are. So I have a list of homeowners. I have a list of realtors. I have a list of designers. I have a list of, strategic partners, people like flooring people, and maybe there's cleaners or home stagers or something like that. You can sort them by vendors. Maybe you have a bunch of different vendors. That's one way to use the labels, and I use them that way in particular because I use these labels in my email campaigns. So when you go into your Gmail, you'll actually be able to use mail merge and send an email blast to the list that you have that are categorized by labels. And so every homeowner that is in my list, whether I have done work for them in the past, whether I have not, they all get slapped with this homeowner tag. If I know that you own a home in my service area, you have this homeowner label, and they get on my newsletter. And so I'll send a weekly email newsletter, and it's so easy. You just type in the name of the label and you can send it to them. And you can even type multiple labels in that in the email section. Another way to utilize the labels would be to use it as kind of like a pipeline. And so you could tag somebody as a new lead. You could tag somebody as a estimate sent out, or project in progress, or past customer. I will tell you that it does get a little cumbersome dealing with it in that way. But what I think a good idea would be is to, maybe tag people who are, their past customers, use a label like, deferred painting project, where you're going to go contact them later on for a project down the road. There are other ways in Google, in the Google workspace, to manage your pipeline. But I did want you to know and have in your toolkit the idea that you could use these labels as to help with your pipeline. But for me, the main thing that I want to do is I want to sort these contacts by labels, so that if I want to send an email blast to a specific group, then all I have to do is type in the name of the label, and then I can send that out. There are a couple other details here in the contacts. you know, you're going to have, you know, duplicate entries. It of course allows you to merge it and fix it easily. And if you're starting from having an existing you know, list, custom contact list from, you know, another CRM or, you know, from another source, if you get it into a .csv, you can import it right into your Google Contacts and have and be off and rearing to go. So that is that's the training for contacts. That's the training for contacts. Like I said, you know, YouTube has videos for anything that you could possibly imagine. So if having the visual would help you out, make sure that you do a Google search for you know, cool things you could do with Google Contacts. I believe that this is helpful. To me, the revelation that yeah, I could make progress and I could manage my customers with Google Contacts alone. I didn't need to spend hundreds of dollars on a third-party CRM. That was a big revelation to me, even though it sounds simple. But you know, now that I've been practicing it and using it, I'd have a hard time going back to another third party. Just there's so much, you have to learn so much and you know, import things and set so much stuff up. Whereas Google Contacts makes it pretty simple and easy to manage.